And hello everyone. Hopefully we are live, eh? Welcome to the next installment of I have way too much data on my phone plan, as in infinite, and we're gonna test the limits. Episode 2. Today we're gonna explore the Danforth a little bit. By the Danforth I mean, of course, Danforth Avenue here in East Toronto. We are east of the DVP. And hello to everyone. Sorry I'm late. I had to charge my phone since I have no power bank. So basically we're going solely off of inbuilt phone battery. That means it's going to be maybe 2 hours. Definitely not more. And hello Juliet and Harjot, welcome in. It is a little bit rainy, so I have my umbrella. Since I'm running the gimbal, if it starts to get real bad, we have the umbrella. Not that I need it, but the gimbal and the phone definitely do. Actually, I think we might have to open it up already, because if you look on the ground, there's water. So I haven't really done a Danforth stream before. Not in a long while, at least. So I thought today we could come and walk along the Danny in advance of Taste of the Danforth, of course. That is happening next weekend. That's going to be a real fun and a big event here for Toronto. Hopefully it continues into next year, but who knows? Apparently it's undergoing some rough patches. Also, we are now in August. Yesterday was officially August 1st. So happy August to everyone. And of course, happy Civic weekend. Civic Day weekend to anyone in Canada. If you're outside of Canada, tomorrow is a regular day. But for Canadians, tomorrow is a day off. At least most anyway. Tomorrow is Civic Monday. Here we are at Danforth and Donlands. And tomorrow there's going to be a long ass stream walking downtown. So stay tuned for that. Tomorrow should be nice and sunny and not rainy like it is now. Also, hopefully the chat mode is set properly. Hopefully it's not members only today. Brent Sheehan says it rained there all day, so you made cabbage soup. Perfect. Juliet is the only one outside of Canada. So just a quick reminder, if you're tuning in, please hit the thumbs up if not yet done, and subscribe if you're possibly new. Otherwise, keep watching as doing. No 4K today. I think it's 1080p. Perfect. Thanks, Juliet. Thanks for confirming that. Subscribers only. So I watched Spider-Man Brand New Day yesterday, and it was very good. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it is very, very worth watching. And if you've been following MCU for a while, I can tell you that after this movie and Avengers Doomsday coming out in December, next year should be quite interesting. Whatever comes out next, the MCU is powering up, and hopefully the films keep up with how good they're supposed to be at this point. Because I don't know if Disney really has the best track record of doing that. But at least I can confirm that Brand New Day was very well done. Avengers Doomsday is probably going to be incredibly good as well. Of course, Sony Pictures is responsible. Anytime they make a movie, there's nothing bad about how it looks. And the storyline was incredibly developed in the time span.
I don't know if it's like an island.
There's a not in service bus sitting here. Yeah, we'll see, Jim. Hulk was in Spider-Man. The Spider-Man movie that I watched yesterday, it did have Avengers in it. It had a couple Avengers in the movie. So I kind of think of it more as a introduction to what's to come. We got a new character, right? And Avengers Doomsday should be pretty much solidifying that. Avengers, of course, will have a lot more Avengers in it. Oh yeah, welcome Spider-Man. He, of course, survives, so that's good. That's the only spoiler, I guess, that's worth sharing. Here's Greenwood. Greenwood and Danforth. There's a A&W on the left. Shepard is phoning cellular services about this abuse. Yeah. You go ahead and do that. They ought to know, right? Don't worry. Once I remember, I'll switch the RTMP version of my mobile setup to 4K. So then we'll be pushing even more data. Because right now I have it set to 1080p, and in the grand scheme of things, it just sips data. If I set it to 4K from the iPhone, I will try 4K from the iPhone straight to YouTube first, and then I'll have to test it with my computer setup, see if the computer can handle it. Because right now the PC needs upgrading, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. On one hand, it removes the strain from the computer, now that it wouldn't need to upscale using the GPU. But on the other hand, it strains the bandwidth of the iPhone antennas because it needs to push 4K over the air. Also, it strains the server relay. Since I don't have a physical relay at home. To be honest, it's too complicated for me to set up. I'll eventually do it. It's just too hard and expensive and all that. Right now I'm using a cloud relay, so I gotta take it a bit lightly on that end. But yeah, eventually we'll be pushing 4K from the phone. Maybe when the 18 Pro Max is in my hands in September, we will definitely do that. But I have to figure out this server relay thing. I have to not figure out, but I have to make sure it can handle 4K incoming footage. It's gonna be a lot of bit rate. Indeed, Alex, abusing Bell's unlimited plan. They're gonna regret giving me unlimited high-speed data, you know that? I already stream a lot of stuff, but I've been holding back a little bit until I come home, for example, to stream like movies and stuff on Wi-Fi, but I'm not doing that. Anything that I can do on my phone, I just do it. No pressure task, because the data can keep up, right? Never runs out. It's supposed to be up to 2 gigabits actually. 2 gigabit data, which is insane. And we never even get 1 gigabit. So those numbers seem pretty made up, or in like 1% of the country you can get 2 gigabits on 5G. But, you know, that's not the point here. We know it's slow. It's always been shitty with bit rates, especially when streaming. From there to here. Well, that's one way of putting it, Shepard. That's one way of putting it, yeah. Red Rocket Coffee. Oh, that looks pretty interesting. The interior looks cool. There's a booster juice. So a lot of the stores are closing early today due to the long weekend. And the bakery I went to, surprisingly so, closed like an hour earlier than they were even supposed to. So I was lucky I decided to go there earlier than early. I was pretty much like half an hour before closing, and they weren't supposed to close for another 2.5 hours when I was there. So yeah, Civic Monday problems. Hey, Crying Hippie, hello. Yeah, I saw the bike rave story you sent over, although there's no details apart from the date. I think August 15th. I have no idea where it is. So yeah, I'll look into that. I have to complete my biking against cancer challenge. that 100 kilometers I signed up to do. So I'll be doing that in August at some point. It would help if I had a bike, so I have to figure that out first. The other bike I had is no longer with me. There's the Jump for Joy Play Center. '41 in the building. Welcome in, all. Thanks for joining today. It's a little rainy. Not as rainy as when Henry was outside, but I think I'll be opening my umbrella soon because it's not letting up. And this gimbal seems very finicky. So let's do that now. All right. Hudson's Bay umbrella is open. Hey Arnold, One Hand Live. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Alex is on line 5 taking a joyride. Oops. Don't get caught by the poo, okay? Don't get caught by the POO. Otherwise, that's a hefty ticket nowadays. I heard they're beefing up the ticketing costs as well because they want to crack down on fare evasion. Beat the heat with an affogato. That would be nice, except there's no heat. It's only like 20, 21 degrees right now, which is an upside of the rain. I get sweaty above anything like 25, 27 degrees. So this is quite nice. Is Henry going online? He was online today, Arnold. He was live for 7 hours this morning. Here's Coxwell Avenue. And there's a location of Mo for Coffee, the birthplace of coffee. I remember walking here a long time ago. I don't know if it was last year or this year. I know it's been a while. It was probably last year, to be honest, because it was about the same temperature. It was not rainy though. I do remember making a very, very long live stream that day though. I believe it was 10 or 11 hours. Here's a Tim Hortons with a takeout window inside of Shoppers Drug Mart. Look at that. That is incredible architecture. Shoppers Drug Mart with a Canada Post and a Tim Hortons. Crazy. But then we remember the walk-up window on Dundas and University of Tim Hortons too. So I guess it's not that insane. Alright, Crying Hippie says you click homepage for Bike Rave and they send location one day before. Oh, well, how can I promote that? I can't promote that. There's no meeting place. I'm probably not even gonna go if I don't know where to go. I make my plans like 2-3 days ahead at least. It's cool though, it's a good thing going. There's a lot of recent bike influx in Toronto, so it's good to see events happening, even though it's unfortunate I probably won't join. But yeah, if you want to check out a bike rave on August the 15th, check out Bike Rave. They're on Instagram. I'm sure they've got a website. There's a McDonald's McCafe. Active, Green, and Ross. I wonder why the garage is so inside. At least they got parking spots. I feel like it's a waste of space a little bit. The Danforth Apparel has a nice wall mural there. That painting is cool. I like the colors. I think that's Pikachu or a Pokemon. That's a Pokemon there. Yep, that's true, Carl. Because tomorrow is going to be sunny all day. I believe the rain is supposed to technically end around 2 or 3 a.m. tomorrow. Although I'm sure it'll update. The weather updates like every 2 hours, and it happens to be in a whole different spot. And also a lot of people aren't out today because it's Civic Day weekend, like I said. It's long weekend here in Toronto or Canada. And a lot of people are going to be having their family dinners and such and meeting up for the weekend, since tomorrow is a day off for us Canadians. And of course the rain stimulates staying inside. The Tipsy Moose is open. Wheels and Wings Hobbies. I was looking at this. They're closed, of course, but they got some cool shit in there. I want to check it out once it's open again. Got some cool items there, and not just RC cars. Wheels and Wings, they're mostly a RC car hobby shop, but as any hobby shop goes, they have other stuff as well. Be sure to pop in there during the week sometime and see what they got. Hey, there's a right-hand drive car, the Suzuki. It's a K-truck. Or J-truck, I don't know. I'm not sure with these small things. Either Korean or Japanese, I have no idea. But it's very cool. I like now that the import restrictions are going away from more and more model years. We see a lot of these cool right-hand drive cars in Toronto. It gives us some refreshing looks, you know, between the usual old Corollas and Camrys and Honda CR-Vs. Here's East Lynn. And that is East Lynn Park. The water is accumulating a bit on the ground, so I had to step over a pretty sizable puddle there at the sidewalk.
Hello. Hey. Come here.
What I'm noticing is there's a lot of kids centers here on the Danny. I mean, there's Jump for Joy. We've seen 2 already, and then a bunch of others. I didn't really point them out, but there's a bunch of them. And look at that. There's 2 vacation booking places right there. I don't know why they still have physical locations. It's all online. Through like TripAdvisor or Expedia. Hey, manager Mr. Me, hello, welcome. Here is Woodbine. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I walked by a Woodbine. I've definitely driven by in recent times, but walking, I don't know. Must have been a while. There's a BMO. Pizza. A look back west. I mean, we're gonna double back on ourselves eventually, because I have to head back towards the spot that we started. We're gonna do the Danny east and west, both ways today. Yeah, probably Shepherd. Ken is probably going live today. Hey, good evening, Neville. It was good seeing you the other day with Henry. That one time we went to Kensington Market, we saw you in the morning. So thanks for saying hello once again then. And thanks for popping in today to the chat. There's a Value Village.
But like ability to
Flamingo Bar and Grill is looking closed. Home Hardware on the right coming up. Yeah, a lot of similarities between the storefronts here. I guess because everything is so small and not a lot of human concentration, they repeat a lot. Oh, there's one of the newer looking Tim Hortons stores. New as like from the outside. They are kind of rebuilding these from the outside to look the same. And it's not terrible, but in some spots it just looks bad. Just like they're all remodeling the Starbucks interiors. But I don't know, something about the way that Tim Hortons looks, it's just, it's giving the default cafe shop in a movie vibe, and that's not the best vibe to give off. You envy the walkability, the suburbs you have to drive everywhere? Yeah. That's one thing I guess that Toronto is very good at, is maintaining sidewalks and walkability. And even when there aren't a lot of sidewalks, it's mostly the neighborhoods where there's not a lot of cars in general, so I want to see them improve, but overall, it's not too bad. If you go to our neighbor city, Mississauga, you'll see immediately the difference. Mississauga is quite bad with walkability and the availability of sidewalks. It's pretty embarrassing, to be honest. The only place you can really truly walk to anywhere within a reasonable time and on a normal sidewalk is in the downtown core, which is by Square One. And I know the whole city is stretched out, but it sucks. Basically, if you're in Mississauga, you either go to Square One or you have to drive somewhere, like Toronto or North York even, to have anything of value to do. And once you drive out of Mississauga, once again, the car situation in Toronto makes it so that parking is quite a premium. And you have to, first of all, pay for parking. And on top of that, you not only have to pay, usually it's a ridiculous price considering the empty lots everywhere. But I gotta say, sometimes driving is needed. And if it's the only way that you can get around, well, I hope you don't have to drive a lot in downtown. Only outside. Alright, here's some pretty flower beds. That's cool. You hate Dixie, Brent? Oh, Dixie. You know, now that I'm thinking of it, I guess here Ontario is gonna be alright, but only when the LRT opens. And the here Ontario LRT is having so many problems, it's crazy. We can't really say anything though, because the Eglinton LRT was a lot worse at this point than the here Ontario. A lot worse, at least timeline wise. It is also getting quite windy here. I don't know. So far the umbrella is holding up, but I don't know. Yeah. We might have to, I don't know. I don't want to turn around just because of the wind, but it could be done. We can turn around at the light coming up there. I don't really know that there's a lot of interesting stuff coming up. Mostly this is just I don't know, non-ASMR, but rainy East Toronto walk. Sandy says, you don't think there are any walktubers in your city? The only thing to see is the waterfront. Well, Boom's gone to Windsor before, but if you mean like living in the city and vlogging it, I'm sure if you Google something you'll find it, but yeah, nothing that comes out top of my head. Yeah, I want to go to Windsor, but if I go to Windsor, it'll be passing through to Detroit, because I'll be going with the intention of recording the Gordie Howe Bridge. So this is West Lake Avenue, and I believe we're gonna turn around here. Like I said, I know it looks like there's a bunch of high-rises up ahead, but there's nothing really interesting. I mean, we passed Woodbine, and Woodbine's kind of a big stretch, so I'll say we go ahead and turn back and walk the other side of Danforth. Alex says there were idiots on the tracks, so you got off at Fairbank and made a walking video. Nice. Not the idiots on the track part, but making a walking video. Speaking of LRTs, tomorrow Line 6 is closed because of what? Upgrades? I wonder why they couldn't do any upgrades while they were building it. Like, how do you open stuff and then immediately close it for upgrades? What kind of upgrades? Any upgrades they should have had should have been already planned in. I mean, they built it in like six years, right? I know it wasn't immediately open and they were planning it a long time ago, but still. There's a Lotus. Very nice. Yeah, but here's the thing, Alex. The minor issues, don't they have a whole revenue demonstration process to go through before they open? The entire point of that is to iron out any minor issues. And I'm not saying that them closing the line for upgrades is bad, like 100%. Obviously, I'm all for upgrading our subway lines, but it's one thing when you close a part of a subway line for upgrades. It's also a whole other thing when you close a subway line such as line 2 for upgrades. But it's a complete new story with line 6 because, you know, it hasn't been a year yet, and the revenue demonstration wasn't this long ago that it would need upgrades already or fixing issues and stuff. Anyway, not that it really affects me, but I think it's stupid. There's a nice red Corvette. Also a green Willis Jeep. That's pretty cool. Big Honda dealership and service here. Shout out to Brad and Marie Bomber, who both have Hondas. Even though, not my brand, but shout out to the superstars Brad and Marie. Am I looking forward going back to school, Sandy? Yeah, definitely, in a way. I'm not entirely stoked on being deprived of all of my free time, essentially. But, you know, it's fun. Sometimes. You know what I wish they would have put here on the Danforth is a little more 7-Elevens. And I don't know why, but I think it's pretty nice when a gas station has a 7-Eleven instead of the regular Petro-Canada or Esso shop. Yeah, for sure, Sandy. You bring me a General Motors vehicle, I'll be right at home. Not to say I like every single General Motors vehicle that's come out, but overall, that is the brand or the suite of brands I'd go for. In particular, Chevy, but yeah, that was a nice GT Shepherd, yeah. Black and yellow. I didn't have the time to zoom in, but that was pretty cool. It was clean enough to where it looked good. At least there was not a bunch of stickers or anything on it. Budapest Hungarian restaurant. Very cool. Very cool. Hold on. Isn't this the place that Johnny Strides recorded a fitness gym video that one time? Or maybe it just looks similar. I don't know. All construction's the same to me. If you have plywood and scaffolding, I won't be able to tell the difference. You was a Buick guy, Brent Sheehan. Buicks are nice. Here's why I don't necessarily like them as much. They have very, very stylish designs, especially recently. And they're starting to look extremely good on the outside. But if you take a look at Chevy, and if you ride both Buick and Chevy, basically Buick is just a reskinned version of any Chevrolet. And having the same interior quality, I would prefer Chevrolet in most cases. Although I do have to say the biggest Buick there is, the Enclave or the Enclave, is quite nice. Now obviously General Motors will have a bunch of the same parts, but I feel like Buick should be a little bit more high-end on the material side. I know the most high-end will be Cadillac, but Cadillac is a whole different level. Hello, Salem Cook George, welcome. Isn't Buick just a luxury brand? It's an upscale for sure, but it's not Cadillac. Cadillac is the luxury brand. Buick is in between Cadillac and the rest. You owned an 87 Turbo. Wow. But not a Grand National. I see. Ooh, Sandy's parents were retired from GM. And you always drove GM cars. That is very cool. That is very cool. You drove a Buick and a Chevy Camaro, Sandy? Now the Chevy Camaro I can be envious of. There's a random street-facing music. Let's hope that doesn't copyright the entire stream. Because we've been going so good so far. Camaro Berlinetta. Ooh, that's wow. Yeah, that is the car. That is the car, George. Very nice. Very nice. Hello, Riding Reckless. Welcome. Jim always liked the Pontiacs. Yeah. Is it stereotypical of me to say Firebird is like one of the recognizable Pontiacs? Or do people think the Firebird is just the brand of the car? I don't know. I mean, anytime you see a Firebird, if you know anything, you'll know it's a Pontiac. The new Camaros are really nice, says Sandy. I don't know. The very latest design, I don't like the front. I like the back end, but the front end, the ducktails they have is pretty sweet. I don't like big spoilers and rear wings, so the ducktails I appreciate. Hey, we're back at East Lynn. Let's take a walk through the park. There's a splash pad, which is not being used. Oh, you had a 90 Camaro. Oh, I like the splash pads that have like the umbrellas on the top that spray down. This one doesn't. But look at the fish. Look at the fish on the splash pad. And the seahorse and the sea star and the turtle. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, you had a Cutlass, Jim. You had a Cutlass. Hey, if any of you are wanting to see some of those cars you're mentioning, y'all should check out my London live stream, because on the London, Ontario live stream, we stumbled upon the best car show I've ever seen. That's outside, and a lot of the cars we're mentioning in the chat are there, and also not just one, there are multiples of some of them. So if you want to check out that, you gotta go see the London live stream somewhere in the middle there. And it's not the car show that has Lamborghinis and Bugattis. It's the car show that has the classics. And cars that I didn't even know existed. Probably because most of them were before I was born even. Oh, that was a cool yellow VW. Nice and bright on this gloomy day. Southeast Toronto Family Health Team. What the hell is this? Oh, the IDA. Danforth Drug Mart. Hastings. Oh, Hastings Barbershop. Hollywood Canteen.
I'm gonna go back in there. That used to be.
Do Good Donuts. I wonder if the donuts are good. Here's a Service Ontario, which is closed about 3 days a week. Or rather, it's probably open 3 days a week. And it's probably Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from like 11 to 3. The worst possible timings. Danforth clones. Yes, this is the building with the nice, very nice paintings. Big mural. You gotta go to the Hollywood Canteen, Neville, and see what books they have. I don't think you can go tomorrow, unfortunately, because it is civic day. So I'd bet they're closed, but it is definitely worth checking out. It looks pretty cool. Not for me, but I know if you're into cinema and stuff, and that storefront looked like it had some gems in there. Grab a bite at M, says Shepard. Oh, I don't feel like Mickey D's today. Shout out Jeanette and others that like the libraries. This is the Danforth Coxwell Public Library. The libraries, of course, are closed until Tuesday. Literally nothing is open tomorrow. Hey, there's that Shoppers Drug Mart again. I believe Henry got into an altercation here, that I remember. Well, I mean, that guy gets into a lot of altercations. He's for some reason a dingus magnet, it seems, sometimes. Hey, Sapans. Hello. This must have been a factory, or still is. But, oh no, it's not a factory, it's a TTC building. But it probably was a factory. I don't know. When you see, when you hear me talk about stuff, you quickly realize that I don't know shit about shit. but I like learning stuff. There's a bus terminal, the TTC. That would be the Coxwell Station bus terminal. There's a Guardian and pharmacy. Hello, no clue. Ronnie and the Daytonas, a little GTO. There's a subway. I will listen to that song and see what I think. Hey, there's a bowling alley. Danforth Bowl. And a Desairs art supplies and framing store. I mean, you definitely can't tell on camera, but the wind is certainly pulling that way in front of us. It's not necessarily windy, but the gusts are pretty strong. Hey, the umbrella's holding up pretty well though. For a foldable umbrella, I didn't expect it to be like extremely bad, but yeah, it's not terrible. Oh, there's a sushi place. And they have a knife on the front. That's interesting. What is this? Brick Labs Inc.? What is this store? No, I don't mind at all, Brent. I enjoy car talk. I can't really keep up with any of the I don't want to say vintage, but anything that's older than me. I don't want to say my memory is bad, but I have a hard time retaining like specific information, so I feel bad because even though I like cars, I can't really remember and like a lot of stuff, so I like talking about it and no worries. Oh, Lorraine likes the umbrella. Yes, me too. Shout out Hudson Bay, right? Actually shout out Canadian Tire because they're the ones that acquired the Hudson Bay colors and name and naming. This umbrella we got along with Henry when he was with us, actually on the meetup day on July 18th. First ever DT meetup, which was fairly poorly planned considering I had an entire year. But no worries. I'm already doing a lot better for planning next year. Even though nothing's been announced. But I'm structuring next year's meetup a lot better. And it's gonna be quite cool. Cool to the point that if you're not there, you might feel like missing out. Yeah, the bay was awesome, Lorraine. It's too bad they closed, but that place has been basically leaking money in every single direction for a long time. So it had to have happened at one point or another. And to be honest, I'm happy they survived COVID, because they could have very easily closed under the COVID disguise and pocketed the rest of the money a lot quicker. Dragon Supermarket. We delivery. I think someone has a translation problem. Is deliver, not delivery. Oh, thanks, Sandy, but I know what I can improve. And last year I was kind of just procrastinating a lot because I thought everything would come together on its own, because obviously you see Henry's meetup, and the thing that I have to remember is that Henry's meetup has been going on for years and years now, so everything is kind of buttery smooth, but even then you'll see some issues here and there. So I got to take a lot more responsibility, and first to have a yearly meetup that everyone knows and needs less talking about is that you need to structure the first few well enough that it kind of just sits in people's brains, or just in the back memory. When you think of July, what do you think of? You either think of forest fires and yellow skies in Toronto and New York, or you think of DT meetup. So yeah, that's what I'm telling myself, at least. This is an interesting entrance. A rental, I'm assuming. There's a 31 bus, Greenwood to Queen and Eastern. Well, I'm trying not to do that, Sandy. I have a hard time communicating what I'm thinking properly, but essentially I'm using Henry's meetup, and I don't want to say that I'm copying it, but I'm taking my experience and the viewer's experience and everything, and I'm trying to take that into account to see what areas I should check on for myself. It's not going to be the same, but I can learn, right? Allenby Theater, Tim Hortons. Allenby. Why did I say theater? Why did I say theater? Circle K, Tim Hortons. Okay, so I know. It looks like a frickin' theater, but it's a Circle K. Really? They turned a theater into a Circle K and a Tim Hortons. How come I haven't ever noticed this? Interesting. Here's Greenwood. Yeah, it's cool that they kept the facade, Lorraine, but I don't know how I feel about a Circle K inside of a theater. It just, gut feeling is not a good one. Yeah, that's what I figured, Neville. I mean, the whole thing looks like a theater. I know what theaters look like and used to look like. I just staggering that they have a Tim Hortons and Circle K in there. I don't think I've ever seen that before, to be honest. Although, to be fair, we've seen a Marriott hotel inside of a Castle Armory in London, so what else is new? All right, sounds good, Sandy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks for coming on today. Hope you enjoyed the walk. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Neville. That would be cool. That would be cool. But unfortunately, I don't think it's possible because they already plopped a gas station right beside it. Which means that turning it back is essentially impossible now. Dr. Felix, hello. You saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show 25 times there. Holy, that's a lot of times. How cool would it be to drive that thing? The JCB telescopic arm contraption. Huh? You get road rage, just pick up the car in front of you and yoink it out. Thoughts on the church, guys? Why is it so plain, bruh? Why is it so plain? In my opinion, the traditional way with Tourette's and stained glass is a lot better. My mark for ending the stream, by the way, is back where we started, which is essentially right by Kawartha Dairy. I was thinking of getting ice cream because, you know, it's just the best ice cream in my opinion. But considering the temperature and the windiness, I have lost my appetite for ice cream. There's city fried chicken. So the ice cream will have to wait until a later date when it's nice and warm and sunny, preferably. Although here's an upside of today, the ice cream wouldn't melt. Moe's Food and Variety. I like the flame as an apostrophe. That's pretty cool. There's the Pizza House. You guys making something. Oh wow, speak of the devil. There it is, Kawartha Dairy, ice cream and fresh milk. How much time are we at? Hour and 20 minutes. Oh, here's Square Boy hamburgers. I gotta get in there someday. Charcoal broiled hamburger bites and more. I've never been. Jones Avenue. there's a Maple Leaf Sports Bar and Grill. And what is this? I see Yoshi. Nakayoshi. Ramen. Fine Japanese kitchen. Oh, and look what's beside it. A Metrolinx community office. Go send your complaints, people. Go send your complaints there. There's another Shoppers Drug Mart. And coming up, a Ontario Line construction project. Woohoo! They failed to remove the Shoppers Drug Mart, but they succeeded in removing a bunch of smaller shops and apartments. Isn't that awesome? Oh, Romeo and Juliet Cafe. It's closed. Yeah, that's valid, Neville. I'm just sad for all the people that lost their businesses, usually small businesses and apartments, just because Metrolinx didn't want to be fair about it. That's all I'm complaining about. I mean, it's good to have a subway line, and I'm sure people are gonna forget about it, but here is tape. There's a Good Life Fitness there. Temporary commercial loading area. Trucks only, 30-minute time limit. Interesting. That Swiss chalet is cool. I like the wall. Rare instance of a cool Swiss chalet wall. By the way, look at this new subway station. We got a Timmy's. We got a Timmy's built in. Yeah, I feel you, Neville. It is incredibly disappointing what they did. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Neville. Light rail is a lot less intrusive than subway. And considering how the Ontario line is going to be halfway on ground and half underground, it's so much tunneling for it to not be completely underground, you know? There's so much tunneling. Alrighty, we are approaching the point where I end, which is Green Pea Parking. So thank you guys for all joining in today. I appreciate those who popped into the chat and those who lurk. Equally as always, hopefully y'all enjoyed the Danforth walk. Once again, the second installment in abusing my unlimited data plan. Tomorrow we'll be live earlier than today. Of course, I'm not working tomorrow, so we'll be live in the morning time. That is already scheduled, so if you want to set notifications for tomorrow, go ahead and do that. There's 2 live streams actually. So the first one will be a normal walking stream, which is actually going to be the 3rd installment in abusing my unlimited data plan, because there's not really anything special that I'm doing. So it's not a, I guess, pre-planned proper live stream. It's still going to be proper, but yeah, no like event or travel specifically. And then the actual live stream that I have a plan for, and it's not solely to waste data, it's going to be later on in the day. It's also scheduled, so you can set notifications, and that's going to be me, Henry, and Mao Chow Adventures together making a key lime pie. And we'll be comparing that to a professional bakery's key lime pie. So exciting stuff tomorrow. I am excited to see you all in the chats. And yeah, as always, I will catch you in the next one. And ciao for now.